Hey, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day to you, wherever you are. It's Mark Miller here. I've got Rory on the line. Rory, say hi.
Hey Mark, hey everybody. I trust we are
Greetings.
all in good health and happy, and everything is just going awesome today.
Well, everybody, welcome. So, yesterday was kind of an interesting day. I was, we kind of worked our way through. We kind of got to a point, a bug, and I had to take care of some other things. So, I stopped early and we left ourselves midway through with a bug that was
Yep.
kind of, eating away. I went in this morning and took a look at it, and I was thinking, oh, sometimes you have these little thoughts, um, and I thought, oh, we've seen this bug before. This is basically that this wasn't working. I
Yeah.
think my theory was is because we're calling it from a static method. I'll show you all the code in a second. And then I was like, oh, wait a second. There's an ability to bind in, and we can bind the this before we pass it in, and I bet that'll fix it for us. So I was thinking when we left that it was going to be a bigger problem to solve. I was going to have to restructure and pass in through a parameter the this that we were
hmm
missing, but I don't think I'm going to need to do that. Let me show you where we are right now. Let's take a look at the code. Actually, before we look at the code, let's look at my check-in software right here, and you can kind of see some of the problems right here. Will Bennett's saying Roy's volume is fine. Let's make it too low so we have a problem to fix. Yeah, Will.
Mark and I were just talking about this just before we fired up the stream. Everything seems to be going fine. It's a little disconcerting.
Yeah, I normally Roy and I have some kind of problem, and I chalk it up to a combination of cutting edge hardware and software that doesn't for some reason always work, and you got to kind of jiggle it, kick it a bit to make it
Yeah.
work. And sometimes there are sequences of steps that, such as disconnecting my audio hardware from my computer and restarting it or restarting the machine or restarting some software. And we're kind of, as we're doing this, we're kind of learning and getting a little bit better at this. But today, I normally call Rory about 8 minutes before we start, just to get run
Yep.
through sound checks, things like that. Today I called him about 3 minutes before we started,
If that.
and and he's like, dude, I have the sense you've massively prepared, and I'm
Yep.
like, no, but just all the tests happened to pass, and we lucked out.
Stars have
So
aligned. The
stars
universe
have
likes us
aligned.
today.
So let's see. Sickle Mr. Wigo says, hello, not been able to join you well. It's nice to catch up. Hey, we're glad you're here. We are wrapping
Yeah.
up. Hopefully today we're going to wrap up the gateway. Basically, this is what brings the drones in. We're going to
hmm
do that today. And then I'll give you a preview of what's coming next because we're going to kind of take a break from this game a bit to work on a different game. This is one of the things I love about nobody telling me what has to be done when it has to be done, is I get to decide. So we are going to make a change to something radically different. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. First, let's take a look at where we left off yesterday. This is the code I'm about to check in. I made a few changes since we stopped. I created a drone proxy and a gateway. I just moved these into separate classes. I do this when I'm not live coding because it takes longer, it slows everything down.
hmm
And so what I'll do if I'm live coding to keep things going quickly is I'll put classes in the same files as another class temporarily. So
Yep.
I had that opportunity. Drone proxies doesn't really have anything. It's just storing data. We're going to use that for the drone. I have a very clear picture in my head of how we're going to use that. I'll explain that when we get to it. Gateway is the thing we worked on last time. So we've got ability to draw the background. We override that, draw adornments. This just draws a number on top of the gateway for it. And we're going to have the ability at some point to create the warp in, but we haven't done that yet. So we're going to have to figure that out, reorient ourselves with the code so we know where to do that. And then everything else, I think, is just pretty much refactoring. Things were pulled out of Rocket and moved into where they belong. So here I've got to
Yep.
call drone.createAt. This is, I think, was the problem code, by the way. Actually, before I check it in, let's look at the problem. So everybody, give you a big refresher on this. And boy, isn't that going to, help you remember what the problem is? It's right down over here, right there beside me, this problem
There we
right
go.
here. Yeah, the other reason I quit early last time too is because sometimes when we debug, if we set a breakpoint here in Chrome, and then Visual Studio stops, and we just stay there for long enough, we'll get into this lockup state where the only way out is to kill every instance of Chrome and Visual Studio, I believe. And so that's why we were there, and I recognized that state, and I was just like, all right, let's shut it down. But here's the problem. Cannot read property X of undefined. That's it right there. It's inside rocket.ts, and if we click on that, it'll get us out here to this problem here. So basically what it's saying is this is undefined when we call create sprite. We stopped this, we set a breakpoint, we looked at the call stack, and let's just jump out to this. So that's 759 in rocket.ts. So let's jump over to rocket.ts.
So this function was designed to be held within Rocket.ts initially and to be called from within instance code that was already running in there. So this was always going to be defined. It was going to be the rocket. But we capture a reference to that for other reasons now.
Yeah.
And we pass it in without that additional information that would inherently have been there before.
Yeah, so we
That's
pass
what's sort
it.
of leading us to this.
We pass it in here, and because it was all good, everything would work. But what happens is we pass it in here, then we go into create at, and this is my theory. What I believe is happening is this is a static, and so because it's a static, this is gone by the time we actually call it, that create sprite function. And so before everything was working well, now it's not. The fix, so there's the bug. The bug doesn't work. That bug appears, here I'll show you. That bug appears when I try to create a new drone. I think I can do it again here. If I type in drone in the chat room, I think I'm going to see it again. Yeah, there's 2 here. The number just increased to 2. And if we type it in one more time, we should see that go to 3. There it is, it's a 3. So we can see what's happening. The same error is occurring. So what I want to do is I just want to see if the solution is as simple as that. Hold on, let's jump back to where we were, is as it has been everywhere else, where we just come in here and we call bind, and we pass in this on it. And I think that's all we need to do. So whereas whereas the end of the day yesterday, I said, oh no, a lot of work ahead. This morning, this is my theory. So I'm going to save, I'm going to refresh, and we'll keep that open. All right, and so now I think we could just do this at the very beginning, just type in drone, and it should work, and it works. So now we don't have the error. And just to double check that, we can say test gate to bring up the gateway layout, and type in drone again. It shouldn't make any difference. That it should blow up my drone and bring out a new one. Okay.
There we go.
That's
Excellent.
where we wanted to be yesterday. So
that's a great example of how sometimes just taking a step back from what you were doing, leaving those assumptions on the table for a little while, coming back and then thinking, well, hang on, maybe, it's fresh eyes, as it were. Can really help.
Yeah. Z-Doctor says, what I was watching the other day and it was just a black screen with a chat. Did something happen? Yes, Z-Doctor. Mr. Professional, that's me. I stopped streaming without clicking the stop streaming button. And I was working on another machine. And then when I came back, I was like, I'm still streaming. And my machine had been locked up, whatever like that. So... I had locked the machine. So nothing was coming out, black screen, and or just maybe, whatever the last screen that was up there. So
we like to call that a security test, an elongated one, obviously. But yeah, we have proved that, in fact, locking the screen does prevent that information leaking out onto the webs. Good stuff.
Yeah,
well
whatever. So yeah, sometimes I'm not a pro, guys. I know that everybody's crying and screaming right now in disbelief, but sometimes I make amazing mistakes. And what's really interesting about this show is I've actually found several instances where I'm looking at something, it doesn't seem right. And then I realize, I really should have said something there in that moment. I was actually kind of getting myself to believe that what I was seeing was okay. This happened, yesterday's shows when I was looking at the darkness behind the semi-transparent background behind the number 2 right here. And it was darker than this. And I was thinking it didn't look right. It looked more like 80% or 90% gray. It wasn't, I was able to see through it a little bit. So I was convinced it was working, but it wasn't right. And then I later realized a few minutes later that what I'd been looking at was several of these stacked up because of a different bug that we had that we fixed. And once we fixed the bug, it all looked right. And I was like, oh, look, there's a case where my brain, which normally I like to think of myself as an evidence-based, scientific, guy who's making decisions
Sure.
based on these things. My brain wasn't basing it really on evidence. It was like tweaking. I was trying to convince myself that what I was seeing was not wrong. Right. And I was like,
Yeah.
I had that kind of feeling that, oh, it's like a little bit wrong. So, okay, so good. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to do the warp animation and bring that in. And so let's go figure out how to do that. We'll look at we'll come in here. We'll grab let's see here. Go into, I think it's in assets. And I've got so many things that are kind of named the same. Yeah, I think I put it in drones is what I did. I've got a warp in. That's the animation I want right there. So I've got this right out here. Let's go in and we'll open this up in a file explorer. And here you can see it. Here is the imagery. And that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to warp this drone in like that. That's what the frames look like as it goes through. It's got this kind of cool last minute distortion effect here where essentially the blades get in first and big, and then the rest comes in. I think we've seen that in movies like Star Trek. So I did that. I played around with that a little bit. It's 15 frames of animation. So let's do that. It's in this location. I think all I really need is that to the clipboard because it's going to assume we're in assets. So let's go into main. We've done this before. Let's go find a model for how we're loading in images. Here we go, some walls. There's some stuff going on here with walls. And drones are in here too. So we need essentially a function here called load warp in animation, I think is what I'll call it, like that. And then we're going to comment that a little bit out if it's on the clipboard. And we need some code kind of like this, I think, like this. So we're going to say sprites. So all this stuff here, remove hit on force false, but moves is true. This stuff we don't need because these are not going to move. The segment size we also don't need because that has nothing to do with it. We do need to get this here. So we're going to say this comes in like that. And warp in, and what is the name of the file? It's called drone warp in, is what it is. So all I need is this minus the, without the 0 at the end of it. So all I need is the base name for it, like that. And the expected frame count, I think we said it was 15. Double check it. Yep, that goes to 14, starts at 0, so they're 15 frames. This is my frame interval. We'll tweak this later. I'm going to guess at 30 for right now. So this is 30 milliseconds between each frame. Animation style is sequential. Stop. And now we've got, if we look at the, we can't quite see this. How can I zoom in on this? There we go. I can kind of zoom in on this a little bit. So if you look at the IntelliSense suggestion down here, it's saying that pad file index is the next option. So I'm just going to, I'll say, I would say false for that. Hold on, let's get out of here. We'll say false for that. These are optional parameters. The next one after this is the, can I zoom in? Nope, I'm on the wrong screen. Hold on, over here. Over here. And zoom in now. Okay. So the next thing is the hit the floor function, and after that is the on loaded function. And those are my optional functions I can pass in. What I think I really want is actually none of those. What I want is an on stop function is what I want, that sort of thing. And I'm going to change this to, let's drop a marker here for a second. We'll come back. Let's see what load drones does. It not just puts out to drone all drones, which is the sprite collection. So what I think I want is something like this. Actually, it can just be of type sprites. I'm just going to say this. It's going to be my var warp in. Warp ins is equal to, it's of type sprites, like that. I think is what I'll call it. And then I'm just going to do this. And now I think I've got my warp in stuff done. And now load warp in animation. I need to call this about somewhere around the same place where I'm calling my load drones. So let's look at this. Well, that's in add drones. Well, let's see where add drones is called from. Add drones is right about there. So we'll do something like that. Load the warp in animation. So that's going to happen there. With the warp in animation loaded, I should be able to, when we pass in a drone command, let's go find that. I think I'm looking for drone in quotes. There it is right there. So we go to myrocket.release drone. And I think one of the things we were talking about is, well, maybe that necessarily shouldn't be there. And what I think we really want to do, I think I want to take this completely, not completely actually, because this needs this right here is what it needs. So let's do this. Let's do this. If params equals, I want to see if this is a number. That's what I want to do. What is the way to get it to a number? I think it's this. So I'm going to say let gateway num of type number equal plus params. I think that's the correct syntax right there. And then I want to basically say if gateway num, if it comes back with anything valid, then I want to call a different function, release drone from gateway, like that, passing in the gateway number, like that. And then I want to say else down here, I want to say myrocket.release drone, and I don't think we're using params in here at all. We're not. I bet we kill this. Let's kill it here. And let's get back out and kill it here as well. Let's see if that's called from any other places. Okay. The number, wait, now, user ID, display name. Oh yeah, this used to be, now we got user ID, display name, and color. Good, okay. So there's the other one. That was a test piece. So we just have those three. Okay, good. Release drone from gateway. And maybe let's do this. Let's do gateway.release drone.
Good. Matches the same pattern. That makes sense.
You like it better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So, and let's though, I think I want to change this and put this out at the end. Like that. So it's got the same kind of base signature as the other release drone, except for one more piece. It's the gateway
Takes
number.
less for the brain to interpret it when you read it as well.
Right. And to cheat a little bit, just to give us a little edge on time, I'm going to copy this to the clipboard, and then I'm going to come over here and have that ready. So I'm going to go declare that inside, drill into it. Whoops, did I not declare it? Looks like I did not declare it. Let's declare it. Go inside, and I thought it was going to give me maybe a little more exciting stuff in there. I'm just going to paste. Whoops, it did give me the static, so fair enough. I'll keep that. And hold on. And it gave me the gateway num. Actually, I think I like the original, the signature here.
Does that actually need to be a static function though? Because if we, in the preceding piece of code, in the calling code, if we were to ascertain which gateway by analyzing the parameters, then we could go find the specific one, and it would know its own location. And then when you deployed, or sorry, released a drone from it, it would do it relative to itself, just the same way as the rocket knows its own instance.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I think the answer is yes, we could do it, but I don't want to. What I want to do is I want Gateway to have a sense of what the gateways are it owns, because the gateway class is hold on one second, Rory. Do this for me. I got a CodeRushed bug I want you to file for me. Note the time and get it. Give me an email on this. So the bug is that I'm on a static method call and I'm typing in tab. I'm hitting tab and tab is just not working. Tab to next reference is not working on static methods.
That is not good.
Also, if I drill into this, so I just do a normal drill in and I hit the tab key here. Whoops, is that caps lock? I think I was hitting caps lock. Hold on. It just gets me to this one right here. Okay, so all right, so we've got that. Next, we need to deal with some issues in here and release the drone. So this line of code we'll keep right here. Next, we need to find what the actual gateway, right? And I'm pretty sure. Oh, you know what? I think I got a sense of where you are. But you know what? I think I get a sense of where your suggestion is because I'm about to have to reach into a variable here that's not really a singleton. It's declared out here, right? It's
Okay.
like, let's go find it where we create our gateway. Oh. I was thinking this was a sprite proxy, a sprite's descendant. I was not thinking this. So I think actually, so this is kind of interesting. I'm going to go stick with my original direction, but I'm now thinking that your suggestion makes sense or really makes sense to have a sprite's descendant that manages all the gateways, a very specific one. Let's look at that a second. Let's get this in the right place. I'm going to put a marker here so we can come back. Let's look at this. I want gateway. Looking, I'm just hitting tabbed index reference here to find the gateway. I'm looking for the, thought we would have fewer of these. Where's my new gateway? Am I not actually creating? Yeah, I'm not, wait.
We may not have yet switched over to using this sprite proxy. We may instead have, in fact, there you go. If you look at the create sprite there, is making a sprite proxy and not a gateway.
Well, if create
Is that
sprite
how that would
function is not really, no, because if create sprite function was passed in, it would use that instead.
So where's that being passed from?
Well, I'm not even sure this is called yet here. It's not.
Okay.
I'm hitting tabbed index reference. I'm getting nothing. So what I think is you're right. I think that's the case. Let's kind of go back in time and look at our gateway test. Actually, it's not going to be here because that's just, I know where that's going to direct us. It's going to direct us to Gravity Games and add gateway. Wait, there's a new gateway. Why did we not find this? Why did we not find this?
That's strange. All right. Well, that would seem like another bug.
Yeah, at least, give them the location and time on this so they can look at this and recreate it. Interesting. Okay, and the other thing I just realized too is I should check in this code here, so that it's available to everyone on this. So let's go back over here to where we were. Yeah, it looks like tabbed index reference. I don't remember showing up here. I don't think we showed up in Gravity Games.
I don't think you did, no.
And in fact, when I type in this here, it's not finding it. And I'm wondering if it has to do, that's really odd, but I can drill into it and find it. So yeah, so help me out with there, Roy, and give me a good bug report in there so we can fix that.
I've got the time code and made a note of what it is.
Excellent. All right, so here's where we create the gateway. There's our gateway, and then we add it into drone gateways. Drone gateways is just a sprites. But what I'm thinking is we want to do is we want to create a class called gateways, and it's going to extend sprites.
So it's kind of a manager class for a selection of them.
Yeah, I'm going to put it up here. Gateways extends TSPS is I think my shortcut for sprites, but I need to get rid of that right there. Okay, and so there's my extending of the sprites. Let's go drill into sprites, grab its constructor signature because I'm sure it's messy. And come back over here and replace it. And then let's call our super and pass in. God, I'd love for a CodeRushed feature to just do this for me. You know what I'm talking about, Rory? Can you?
I do, and actually for those who are listening, it's not just wishful thinking on Mark's part. Actually, CodeRushed does do exactly this kind of stuff for both Visual Basic and C#. It's very often when you see Mark stumbling in this way, it's because these features haven't just yet made it to this language, and in truth, they are just they just save you so much mental stress to just say like, well, give me a call to my base class, passing in all of this stuff. This is so much simpler that way.
I have to kill all of these. Notice these other pieces here.
Mm-hmm.
Private, all that stuff. I think that fits.
You had a colon about mid-screen. Sorry, slightly to the left. There you go.
Wait. I think I did something wrong if I've got a colon here. I deleted the wrong thing. I see what I did. All right, so I left the type, but the name has got to be animation style. And I think I'm going to take everything else out.
No, you meant to take the public out, but you could have left both the type and the name.
Oh, you're right. Let me just undo a second here. Private's there.
Sorry, private, yeah.
This one was okay.
That didn't. So this in TypeScript, as I understand it, actually creates it. So it's another way of declaring there to be a field, which is then assigned to.
Yeah.
In this case, we don't need to do that because we intend to passing it to the base class, where it will get intercepted, and that same self field will be invoked from there.
Yeah. Yeah, so in CodeRushed for C#, we have the ability to just pop in, like, create a descendant, create a descendant of the constructor. I'm pretty sure we have things like that in there in CodeRushed. So we don't have that yet in JavaScript. Okay, hopefully the devs will continue to watch and hear our discussion about this. Maybe add a note in there to say, hey, watch up for till this time frame. Okay,
Yep.
and we're about 25 minutes into it, it looks like. All right, so there's my gateways. And so now what I want to do is I want to go over to where I was constructing it, which is over in Gravity Games, I believe. And actually drone gateways, let's go find that. Let's go look for that constructor. And that's going to use gateways, actually. Let's go back to that. Yeah, drone gateways, new gateways. Okay, good. So it's getting the right type in there. Okay, so now then what I want to do is I want to go in, I think, and do this. Over in main, where we, let's go find that drone call that we've got here. I want it here, drone gateways.release drone. That's what I want.
That makes sense.
Are you happier, Rory?
That's much better because, as you say, it's effectively a name that implies a management of a collection. Yeah. And then an action to perform, in this case, the creation of one of those.
Yeah. No, it is. And I was, in my head, I had attributed those properties to the gateway class. Because I had not worked on it since yesterday, and I just created it yesterday. And in my head, I was thinking, that's what I was thinking, and I forgot that it was representative of a single proxy element, not an actual collection. So now we've got this release drone call in here. We can call all drones.that, and then we can go in to, actually, we don't need this to be release. It's a this, and inside, now we can do a this.find right here. And the match data is, I think, just the gateway num.
Okay.
Pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure that is going to get us back a gateway. So I think it's coming on the side like this. So it's let gateway equal, let found gateway equal this dot find. Right? Gateway num. Once this is a string, okay, fine. To string. I think it's still going to work, is what I think. I think it's going to work. And if it does work, then we're going to create. And if it doesn't, then we're going to be like, all right, let's take a look and step through the code. So if found gateway, then...
So the only thing I'm a little confused now is we've got a gateway. We are presumably now going to tell it to release a drone.
Yep.
Which will then have us with a release drone function in the gateway.
About to put it there.
Right, and that's where the drone.create at is going to be moved to.
Hold on one second. Yes, I think so. Well, I think it's already there, to be honest. So I'm going to grab this release drone here. So pass in now. Well, I might need the X and Y positions, I think, in terms of where I'm going to put that. No, because the found gateway can figure out its own. And so we need to come up and declare that. And let's drill into that. Good, it got us the same signature elements. I like that. I don't like that it doesn't respect my indentation, but whatevs. Wait, I want to keep this close to the top. Let's put this here. Okay, so there's our release drone. And I'm just switching back, and that's the piece I want to get rid of. Come back over here, and now we're getting closer. Look, we also actually have a this X and a this Y.
Yeah, that's much better.
Is what we have. And so at this point...
So there is no create sprite method in...
Yeah. I'm not worried about that yet.
At the moment.
Okay. I'm not worried about that yet. Here's what I want to do instead. I want to go to my warp ins. I just want to get that animation playing.
Sure.
Warp ins dot add. Looks like we just go in with its add shortcut. I added this before. It takes an x, a y, and a starting frame index. So we can say add, and we're going to say this dot x, and comma this dot y. And it's not going to be lined up, right? We're going to have to make some adjustments,
No,
I'm sure.
but we'll have it on screen, proof of concept.
Starting, and I think that's all I have to do. And so just if we do that, this is going to prove that we're finding the gateway, and we are working our way out. It looks like I've got a dog in the room that's upset. Unfortunately, the dog does not understand that I'm streaming, and I am going to continue running it. So very upset, though. All right, so let's refresh over here. But the dog is well fed and watered, just has a lot of anxiety when other creatures are nearby. Okay, so now let's do a gate test. So we're going to say test gate. So we've written a lot of code, by the way, and I want to see if I can pop out at number 3. So I'm going to say drone 3. Oh, and disappointing. Nothing happened. No errors as well, which is kind of interesting. So the downside of that is we're going to have to refresh. Let me actually do one more thing. Let's bring up my drone just all by itself. There, it comes out of there. So let's say drone 3 again, and I should blow up. Cool. So the blow up is occurring. Oh, I know why we're not drawing. I bet it's working. We've one piece we forgot, and that is there's a function.
There's no draw routine.
Yep, exactly. Update screen. I need to come out in here and draw, and I need to decide kind of the Z order of where I'm going to draw in that.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Well, presumably that's anywhere similar to where the existing drone is, because it'll be replaced by the drone.
Yeah, I want it on top of the gateways. So here's the gateways where they're drawn. So I'm definitely going to draw it on top. I think that's the best place for it.
Yeah.
So I need that. So let's go refresh over here as well. My dogs are now named Einstein and Tesla, by the way. And this is
nice.
This is how it works, right? We get dog number 1, and we're like, all right, we'll call this dog Einstein, right? Like that.
Yep.
And then I have to go speak at a conference, so I'm leaving the house, and I'm like, I got to leave the house, and my last words out are, don't buy a dog while I'm gone. And they're like, and I'm like, I'm not going to divorce you, but don't buy a dog. And I get back, and it's Tesla. And they're saying, you have to keep it, Daddy, because it's named Tesla after your favorite scientist, right? You know, it's like, fine. So anyway, that's how it worked. Actually, you know what? I just realized it's the opposite of the way around. It's Tesla was the first and Einstein was the second dog. The only reason that's important is that the second dog is not smart. But we named the dog Einstein, but it's not a brilliant dog.
You're hoping to lead it to intelligence. There you go.
Yeah, that's kind of, all right, so let's try this now. So I'm going to bring in drone right here. That brings it out of the rocket by default. Now I'm going to say drone 3, and it blows up. I saw nothing animated.
No, I don't see anything either.
Hold on. I feel like that was our fix right there. Did I refresh? I did refresh. I remember.
Save, refresh. There was a refresh, yeah.
We're bringing in the warp ins. That should all be working. We're calling
So is there a possibility we're simply not finding, quote, the right gateway? Actually, we must be, because actually the warp in, yeah. Hang on,
hold on a second. I'm pushing the sprite. This should all be working. I don't get why it's not working.
Where's the code that definitely works that's killing off the original? So the second one.
The code that's, hold on a second. Oh, it could be that we're not finding. That could be what the problem is that we're never out here. In fact, let's set a breakpoint here. Can I do a breakpoint here after I made changes? I cannot, as I recall. I've got to shut everything down and restart it. So, I don't think I can. Yeah, this is the unhappy puppy show is what this is. Hold on a second. I think that's my new theory in terms of what's failing, is that the wait, hold on a second. Why do I have? Am I in a different class over here? I'm in Sprite Proxy. Why do I have release drone here? Why is this even here at all?
It's because it got declared at the top of the class by CodeRushed, which may have misinterpreted the type that
type. That's what it was. It's the type problem. Okay, so let's go figure that out. It wasn't in that. It was in, it should be in gateway.
It should be in gateway, yeah.
Yeah. So found gateway. this is what I needed to do. Instance of gateway, like this, and I bet that's what we would needed to get this in the right spot.
So does that suggest we found something before that was not? Oh no, because this dot find would have naturally gone. Actually, that's a great question. Why did the variable found gateway think that it was a sprite proxy before your specific suggestion there that it wasn't?
Because find returns a sprite proxy. That's what find returns.
Right. Okay.
So,
fair enough.
So now I've got release drone, found gateway. This should now work. Did I? Oh, I did. I cut it to clipboard. Now I need to paste it back in. This, I think, will not change any behavior, because I think the old one still would have been calling it there. It still would have been called warpins.add. That's all failing. Let's do this. Let's just do a test to warpins.add and add that to our main, so we can at least test that animation is working. Because I'm pretty sure it is, but why not? Let's do this. So let's say if params equals WI for warpins. Take a break on me so I don't have to do this, and we'll do that. Let's we're not going to say this.x. We're going to say, put it in the middle of the screen. So cross X and Y. Cross X and cross Y, wherever those are. Y like that. And let's also show the crosshairs. I think there's a function in here, crosshairs, draw crosshairs right there. And I'm inside update screen, so I'm going to turn that on. So let's refresh. So now we should see crosshairs showing up somewhere over here. There's the crosshairs right there. So now we're going to say test WI for warpin and watch the crosshairs. Okay.
Looks good.
I like how it looked. So that part
very
is
nice, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it functions. So as long as it gets called, which is likely what was somehow not happening before.
Yeah.
Then we should be good to go. So the only thing is, why was it not being called before?
Let's do one other thing, though. It didn't warp in over the center of the crosshairs. And we built something, added something to the engine. The cool thing about this gaming engine is the whole thing is built from scratch. And what's cool about it is we are starting, if you have good design to it, and I'm not claiming overall it's killer design. This is not something that I would say is ready to sell or be reused by anybody. But there are design elements that are making adding new things easier. One of the pieces that we added, if I'm recalling correctly, is the ability to change its orientation. So let's go, it's offset. I mean, hold on a second. Let me go find, I'm trying to think and code at the same time. So let me just focus on finding the warpins like that. Let's go find that. So warpins is sprites, and it has the ability, it's got a property in here called, I think it's like, what is it? Origin X and origin Y.
Yep.
So those are the two.
So this effectively it moves the position from the upper left corner of pretty much everything to wherever you suggest. So if you calculate the width of the image that you have and you find the center of the image and you give that as the offset, the origin, what you're saying is that it should zoom in centered on the point instead of anchored to the upper left.
Exactly. So I'm just going to come in here and change these to 96 and 45, which based on the mental math I did are the 1/2 of these two, each of the dimensions here, 192 by 90. So by setting those, I think what should happen now is when we refresh and we do our test WI again, that's going to now come in right over the center of the crosshairs. Here comes the test. Nice.
Very nice. There you go.
So that's one of the cool things about the engine, right? Is that, and so now when we're saying position yourself, it's going to adjust so that we are talking about the center of itself. So we know that works. What that means is our find is failing. So let's go look at the find and figure out why the find is in fact failing. So where were we? We were in gateway up here. We were in find.
Find is expecting match data, and we're passing in the gateway's numeric. Actually, gateway num, that's coming in from the higher level. So we're saying number 3, then it goes looking for number 3. So what does our find do? Is it intelligent enough? Actually, if find is on sprite proxy, it can't possibly work because the data it needs to try and find isn't there. It's the ID it needs, and the ID is a custom fact of a gateway.
Look at this, Rory.
There we go.
I think you and I realized it at the same time, like that. That I think fixes the
go.
problem. Boy, wouldn't that be great if that fixed the problem and we
That'd be
didn't
nice,
have
wouldn't it?
more than one? All right, so let's
Yeah.
refresh. Yeah, that was awesome. I love that. Rory's explaining the problem while I'm simultaneously realizing it, grabbing and copying and fixing it. So by the time Rory's done explaining it, we are good to go. So let's bring in a new drone from that place. Let's do a test on the gate. The gates are out. Now let's try to, I'm going to come in, I'm going to say drone 2. Oh, still not found. Am I not being found? Let's do this. That's my conclusion. Is that
That
find?
feels so close.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna have to
So
set a
gateway
breakpoint.
sends that. We've got a matches definitely there. We're testing this ID equals match data, therefore returning
Should I
boolean
do
if true. So the
toString?
match, that should be fine.
Let's throw that at it. Let's do a
Okay.
toString on there. I bet now this is gonna do it. I stake everything on this test. My entire reputation.
100% certainty.
It can't really get any lower. I'm doing so well. All right, so here we go. Drone. Let's launch it. All right, good. Let's type in test gate, and that brings us our gateways. Now let's see if I can say drone out of number 2. I saw
It
something.
worked. No, because I did it as well, and I picked 2 as well. So I was there, and yours was zoomed in
Let's
as well. So if I leave it, there you go. That's 3.
All right.
Somebody's just done.
It
That was
did
you.
work.
So
Okay.
It does work,
But
but location
yeah,
is somewhat off, isn't it?
it's centering over the upper left. That's the upper left of the
Sure.
portal. So it's where
But
it's
that's because
centering.
we haven't calculated the center of the portal yet, because
Right.
that's all about our drone create function.
So we need to do that here. So we're going to say plus gateway dot size divided by 2. And we'll do this again because I've got so much processor power. I don't mind dividing this twice in the same function. All right, so that's going to fix my warp in now. All right, so now we're going to say just do the same test again. Test gate and say drone 3. Yeah, there we go. You did the same one as I did, didn't you? Drone 2. And there we go. I think I beat you to it. Okay. And so there we go. So excellent. So now it's coming in. It's warping in and it feels pretty good. We're missing a sound effect. That's like a minor issue, but we should,
Sure.
we can go look at that. But now what I want to do though is when it's done, I want to now do something. So I think we're going to have to play with the architecture. I think we need something new here. And it is a...
So this is a post animation callback.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking of?
That's what I'm kind of thinking about here. And I'm just looking for where we advance, where we know here. Here's where the cycle occurs, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we set have cycled once to true, or this have cycled once is true, those things mean we've cycled. And now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to do... I'm going to do this. I'm going to create a new function here called cycled, like that. And then I'll allow descendants to override it. And I'm going to maybe throw some extra code in there, right there. So I'll say this.cycled, like that. And then we'll do the same thing right here, have cycled once, just to double check this isn't being set anywhere else. Just there. So we're good. So now I've made those 2 changes there, right? There
Yep.
and there. Then I can now add additional code here that, is saying, hey, you want to call back on this?
Mm-hmm.
Is what I can do. And
So presumably that's a method we would call in or pass in the constructor when we set things up, store in a field somewhere, and then we'd be able to reference that field from here.
I'm not going to do callback. I'm going to do descendant instead. So I'm going to.
Okay.
I know you may be thinking I'm getting a little crazy with the descendants, but I'm going to do it. I want to create a...
No, because I'll tell you why. Because if we do it the way I was just talking about, then we have to have it in this constructor, and we're just adding more and more and more to this constructor, and it wouldn't necessarily be appropriate for every single kind of sprite proxy.
Yeah.
So when you do it in a descendant, you get to choose those bits that you allow the construction of this facility to provide, and not necessarily need all of the things from the ancestor class.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. So by the way, you know what, I didn't explain, you know, what just happened, you know, I didn't go back and say, hey, what just happened proves this now works. The find works. The pieces missing for the find is we needed to override matches in our piece underneath there for gateway. But that's essentially it. So what I'm going to do is now we want to get another class that extends sprite proxy. This one is going to be called our warp in sprite, I think is what I'm going to call it. Normally I don't have that name there, but I'm adding it here because I've got, you know, I feel like a collision is out there somewhere. Let's grab this namespace collision. Let's put that there. And so now we have this. We're calling the super on that. And then I want to override the cycled. So we're going to say cycled like that. And if I'm recalling correctly, it's like this, super.cycled.
Yep, I think so.
Like that. So there we do this. And then our warp in sprite is where we're going to come in and now do something about it. Now, the warp in sprite can have additional properties, and we need actually additional properties. Guess what? I was so sure I knew where we were going to go. I created a drone proxy class. But guess what? This is going to totally replace what the drone proxy class was going to do for me. So the drone proxy was going to hold some values. The most important of those were user ID, display name, and color. Right there. Now I think I'm going to take this out. I don't need this at all. I'm going to just comment this whole thing out. And go back to here. And we need these as properties out here is what we need.
See, I wonder if those three properties don't represent a user, which can be associated then with the warp in sprite or the drone or other things, because you're starting to have a couple of places where that might be a sort of a relevant idea.
Are you thinking you want a class that has these three in it? Is that what you're thinking?
Perhaps, because when you establish that a command is from a user, now you can pass the user around into the warp in sprite and into the drone that they're going to control and whatever other things they do.
I like that. I like it. S&B says, hi there, everyone, by the way, back there. Well, then it says he caught a bug. He's trying to help you. I have a feeling that was from a while ago.
Yeah, I think that was the dog.
The dog caught the bug. The dog didn't like the code. Yeah, okay. So there's our warp in sprite there. And now, if that's the case, now what we can do is we can do something this right here. And we're going to have to change this line of code here in a second too. But basically we need that there. We need the warp in sprite. We need to create that right here. So instead of calling add, because add just creates a regular sprite proxy, we're going to need to call, I think, sprites.push. And then it's going to need a new sprite proxy. So we're going to say we want to create a new warp in sprite. And the warp in sprite is asking for starting frame number. That'll be 0. It's looking for an X and a Y. We've got those. And that's it. I think it needs for what its parameters are.
Nice.
And I think that's the change needed there. But hold on, though. Hold on. We need to create a new warp in sprite here. So we need warp in sprite like that. It's equal to this. And it's of type new warp in sprite. Because we need to set the user ID, right, like that. We need to set the user ID, the display name, like that, and the color. I'm using duplicate line right there to create that code really quickly. Okay, so there's the warp and sprite. So it's set those values. Now that means when we get to there's one other thing I think we have to do. We have to remove the warp and sprite. I was just thinking about that. Let's go look at the. Do we have to do that? Are we maybe? Oh wait, the create at this part right here. This is the piece that we need to do next.
Yeah, so this represents the method that will get kicked off after the end of the first animation sequence of the warping sprite. So it starts really tiny, grows to its full size, and then has finished its animation. And as a result, we'll call this method, which will create an actual drone.
Yes, exactly. And it creates it at, what's cool is it creates it at the end of the cycle of that warping sprite piece right there. So
now, we should also need perhaps to somehow dispose of ourselves to remove the warping sprite.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Which level's going to do that?
We need that. We need to solve create sprite, and we also need to save now. Now is something that we're going to need. So let's start fixing that part right there. So we need now there. Let's go look at the ancestor of that. Can I drill into this? No,
drill
I
into
drilled
the
into
super dot cycle, perhaps.
What'd you say?
If you go one line lower, 924,
perfect.
You should be able to drill into that.
Perfect. And let's pass in now there, fix that as well. Jump inside, and let's do the same thing there now. Okay. So now I think we have these, and then right here we want to pass in now. Oops. And then right there. Okay, now let's tab through these. Okay, good. Looks like, so while we're talking about tab index reference, mark this time down and include this in the email. It's not finding descendants apparently, which is odd. And I'd like to see if that is reproducible. Same thing here on the super call.
Yep.
Okay, so we need to figure that out. All right, okay, so let's see. We are creating it at this position, the X and Y. That should be good. The dimensions are the same. The create sprite call we don't have. We have this in another function we can base it on. So let's go look at that and see how it's going to change from here. So we'll come in here, create sprite. That's, it says it's in gateway. Oh, because I moved it to gateway. And let's get it out of here because I don't think we're needing it here anymore. Okay, and let's go back.
Essentially the gateway is going to create the warping sprite, but then the warping sprite is going to create the drone.
Yes,
is that right?
That is exactly what's happening. Kind of interesting, isn't it? And it's like it's like, okay, I'm going to hand off the data you need to do what you need to do. You finish your animation when you're done, and when you're done, you then do the next thing. So I kind of feel like we're ready to test. Is kind of where I'm at. Anything that you think I've left? Any threads I've left hanging?
That's looking pretty good, actually. Hang on.
All right, let's do a test.
The warping sprite does not have anything that is setting the user ID, the display name, or the color.
No, I think that's not true. I said it here.
No?
That code right there.
Oh, right. That's from the release. Oh, interesting.
I did that so quickly. I was using duplicate line right there. Let's give it a shot. Let's do a refresh.
Aren't you in the gateway now, though, for that? You scroll down into gateway.
Hold on. Let's see. I'm in gateway release drone. So
if you
basically,
scroll back up past gateway and into warping sprite, you've got 3 fields there, which never get set.
These fields are set here.
Right. Sorry. So you instance the warping sprite, then you set them. So it's not. Yeah. Okay. I was assuming for some reason it would go in a constructor, but no, that's fine. Yep.
And release drone is here. So I'm kind of feeling. Let's save everything. I'm kind of feeling that a refresh is going to be interesting. I think it's still going to leave the picture there behind, but but I think what we've got. All right. Let's do test gate. There's the test gate. Let's do drone at 3. Got some flickering. I bet flickering is not good. Uncut error. Cannot read property of bind of undefined.
Bind of undefined. Well, I think we only have one bind, don't we?
Yeah, it's a line 20 in gateway.js. Nope, I'm not seeing it on line 20 of gateway. Well, gateway. Hold on. Gateway.js, so the gateway.js is different. Let's go just search for bind in here. see what we're looking for here. Unbind this drone, create sprite, bind. Wait, hold on. This is our problem here, I think. The create, so we don't know, wait. It's not there. That, I think, is the problem it's referring to. If we do a search for bind, it's only there in this file. So the problem, the error message is, it's undefined. Can't read property bind of undefined. Create sprite is undefined?
So this, in this particular case, is the warp-in sprite. It references the create sprite, therefore, that is part of that, and passes the warp-in sprite as this, which is still valid by the time you get back in there. That should be fine.
Yeah, I don't understand the error. I do not understand the error at all. I don't get
Let's
it.
have a quick look at the Chrome error again, because sometimes it doesn't interpret quite the same.
All right, we'll take a look at that. And let's look at it. So
it's saying line 20, which on screen is inside of cycled.
warp-in sprite dot cycled. Let's go look back over here. Yeah, that's kind of where we are. So we're in the right spot. Cannot read property bind of undefined.
Which means that the function... That's strange.
Wait a second.
Is it really pumping through.
Is it possible that the first time this went through it worked, and it's only the second and subsequent times where we're getting the error? Could that be maybe the problem? Is I'm wondering.
So cycled is being called many times because it's not stopping at the end of the sequence?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Is I'm kind of looking in through. I'm imagining that we're at the end. Let's go look at sprites right over here.
There's a quick mention from the chat room. Will Bennett's pointed out that since cycled is an instance method, we don't actually need to bind anyway. This was only whilst we were passing a function around to a class other than that which it started in.
Oh, really great point. I wonder if, since that's the case, I think we still have a problem. I think that we've got a problem here somehow. But let's just send out just the create. Yeah, let's do that, and we'll see what happens. See what we get. All right, let's refresh. Okay, and thanks, Will, for that. Appreciate that. All right, so let's do this. Test gate. All right, the gates are in. Drone 2. And so what do we got in the errors over here? Cannot read property X of undefined in TS line 30. Create sprite.
That's very much what we started out with.
Yeah, it's because we were calling it through the drone.create at call. This, I don't get. Why can't I bind a this here to it? Why can't I do that? If the fact that we're here means it's not undefined. So if I come in here and call bind on this, although I think what's happening is it's first versus subsequent. I think that's really what the problem is. I think this is going to work the first time. In fact, let's do a console log here. Worked at least once. Like that. Okay? Let's save that and refresh and see if we see what we get here changes up. Okay? So we're going to say test gate again, drone 2, and I want to see, yeah, look at that. Worked at least once. Oh, look at that.
Look at that effect.
It's beautiful.
That's nice. We should reuse that for something. But
we don't have the same error. What it's doing is it seems to be creating the same drone again and again and again and again, which is awesome because take a look at the processing power on this machine I'm working on. Like all of these drones, I think if you start to control your drone, you're going to see them all fly left. Are they all working? Or no, is it only going to find one of them?
No, I'm off and I've left my friends behind.
Okay, so now...
Because that's the warp-in, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
not the drone.
those are drones. See how they have your names underneath them? Our names are underneath the drones.
Oh, that's true.
We have like what appear to be thousands of drones on screen, and we're starting to see a slowdown, right? A little bit of a choppiness to the motion, which is a great sign to indicate that, hey,
After this many, I think I'd expect it, but you know.
I feel like I should stop this at some point. Let's see what, when you're using methods callbacks, it's probably best to do them as a fat arrow functions. That way you won't have a problem with this. I don't know what that means. Let me see what happens if I do a doc, if I can clean up all this mess.
Is that effectively if we pass a lambda?
Oh, look,
rather...
look at that.
Oh, wow, that's spectacular.
Oh, wow, and more are appearing. That's crazy, insane. All right, so we need to solve the cycling problem on this. I'm going to go ahead and close this down because that's just going to... Okay, so it's working at least once. What's interesting is I only added this line of code and this line of code. Those are the only two changes I've made. And what was happening before, we didn't get the error anymore.
Yeah.
But in other words, I didn't really change the code. I don't understand it. If I comment both of these out, I think we're going to... are we going to get the problem again? Well, I don't know. Well, what I want to do is let's fix it so we're only calling it once. This seems to validate the theory that it's a subsequent call problem, right? And so let's go find cycles. Let's go jump into this. Tab to next reference, find out where it is. So here we go. And
right, so both of those tests check to see if our current frame index is greater than our frame count. And if so, we're going to call into cycled and potentially spawn another item. So if there's nothing setting it back to the start, so it sets it back to the start in the first case, because we're going to loop around again. But in that second case, it sets it to the return frame index. What's that? And is there any possibility we're passing through that?
The return frame index is what's passed in here. It defaults to 0, but it could be set to another number. We use this for the segmented animations that happen in some of the, like the drone has got the segmented animations. It's not clear to me. Well, if we're restarting it back to the beginning,
0, then it shouldn't be an excessive frame count.
Well,
so
we should see it come back. We should. What's interesting is I'm not sure how cycled is being called at this point. I have to kind of look at this a little bit more. Sprite.advanced frame. Yeah, I think so. The end-bounds. Oh, hold on. The end-bounds are determined. Return frame index has to do with for its sequential stop or not. So the return frame index is frame count -1. That's what's happening. So we say sequential stop, return frame index is frame count -1. Then in advanced frame, we check to see if the frame index is greater than or equal to. Well, it's equal to it is the deal. Okay? And so what we I think we need to remove it, is what I think we need to do. I think there's another thing in here. There's a property of Sprite Proxy, if I recall correctly, to allow it to be deleted automatically. And I think it's expiration date.
Okay.
And I think expiration date, destroy by, no, still alive. Get alpha, remove expired sprites. There. So here's what I'm going to do.
So hypothetically, we just set expiry date, also expiration date to now?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say this dot expiration date equals now. And that might be the magic one line of code to fix all of this. Let's try and run this again. Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be pretty good.
Okay. Fat arrow change cycled to cycled. Oh, fat arrow. I got what you're talking about. He's saying use use the fat arrow to declare that function right in the case. That way you don't have the problem with this. That's absolutely right. Okay, I've got this error right here. That means I've got to kill all instances of Chrome.
Bye-bye, Chrome.
Say goodbye to them. I've just done that. We're going to restart one more time. I'm so glad I discovered that, by the way. Before knowing that key, I was dead in the water when that issue came up. All right.
All right.
Not going to restore the pages. I've got a good feeling about this, Roy.
I have to say I have too. I think
Really?
all the issues that we've been having have had very good reasoning behind them, and we've actually been onto them fairly quick.
You're so positive. All right, here we go. Test gate comes out. There's the gateway. Try drone 2. Give it to me.
Hey, drone 3 worked.
That was not bad. Let me do it again. Drone 1. That's the upper left corner. Okay, it's not coming from the center, but it's
not, no.
But it's kind of working here. Drone 2. Okay, it's also there's a jump down as well, so the location is not quite right. So drone 2. What is going on with that? Why didn't it should have been showing up right in the middle, and it seemed like we lost that. So we've got to figure that out. My animation in is my warp in sprite is here, and the gateway size divided by 2. That all seems right. It's as if I'm centering on the bottom right corner. Let's look at this carefully when I come in. Drone 2, not quite the bottom right corner. It's at the upper left.
Upper left is centered, perhaps.
Yeah, upper left appears to be centered. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So then what I want to do is then I want to go half of this, which is going to be half of drone. Do I have a drone dot size in here? Let's go figure out where that is and put it in the right spot if it's not there, because I need to know how big the drone is. I had these here. Ooh, see,
Drones dot looks like.
this is not happy
Drones
to me.
dot sprite height.
Wait, where are you seeing that?
It's inside the not the constructor, the create app, just there, about line 36. There's an assignment to mydrone.height from drones.spriteheight.
Yeah, that though is yeah. That has to do with this piece right here, the way the sprite is declared. So that gets the actual. What I'm looking for is essentially these numbers, which are constants. Where are they all showing up? It's kind of a mess, is where they're showing up. But I want to change them all to be, all right, so let's do this. I've got search and replace here because I don't have any other way. I think you need refactoring equivalent to do this. So I'm going to find drone width and change it to drone dot width. And I think I want to do the entire solution. Match
You
my
want to
word.
cut the actual constants first.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with her to start. So I'm just going to do it manually is what it's going to do.
Oh,
So
I
say
see.
find next, and then I'm going to say find next, and then we're going to say, yeah, replace that, replace that, replace that. I just wanted to manually see every single one of these. Yep, replace that one, and that one, and that one. Good. Okay, good. And then we want to do the same thing with height. Like that. And find next. Where are you? There it is right there. Replace that. Replace that. Find next. Find next. And replace that. And that. And that. And that. So better. Okay. Good.
Good.
So now let's go back up here. Take these two. And that path extension looks like I need to do something with that as well, but we're going to work with this for right now. So this is going to be, we need to come in here, and this needs to be read-only. I just used the RO template right there. I don't have a good static template yet, but we're going to do this and do that. And I think that's it syntactically. I think we're done.
If you take the phrase drone out from the front of those variables.
Oh, yeah, duh, on that. So let's change that to width and height. And I think that solves it. And I think
That's
that
good. Now that'll be available. Now, where were you wanting to use that from? Did we actually use that?
no,
Or
no, we haven't done that. That I think is, oh, we've been jumping through the code. Gateway here is where I want to use it. Drone dot width divided by 2.
Mhm.
And this one is going to be this gateway size minus plus that minus drone dot height divided by 2. Okay, so let's see. That's my warp in sprite. So I'm moving my warp in sprite over to the left, and I think that's going to be, what I need. Let's try
So that sorts that out. Is that going to deposit our actual drone in the correct location?
Now I think we still have a problem there. So let's look at
Okay,
that.
so we should flash from the center to the bottom right.
Yeah, hold on. I've got caps lock on. All right, so test gate. There's my gate test. Drone 2. Okay, so
Close.
that worked. It just I
Yeah.
jumped down, and it looks like it jumped down by by a weird amount. But let's go look at this. So let's see. So there's my relays to drone. My cycled is here in the warp in sprite. Here's where we do the create at, and we're saying the X and Y with the warp in sprite, but this is the center point,
That's right.
is what I think it is. And what I want to do here is I think I just want to do the same thing the same code I had before here. So I'm going to say minus drone dot width divided by 2, and then something very similar, minus drone dot height. I think that's it. So let's take a look at that. So let's do a refresh. Won't this be awesome if we finally get this whole thing working, Rory?
Oh, so good.
And in general, I mean, that's kind of the cycle we go in.
Oh, look at that.
Did it work? Here's mine.
That
Drone
zoomed in
through
perfectly,
too.
and it sort of shunts
Oh no,
down.
mine jumped.
There is
mine-
a jump.
Mine jumped. All right, hold on. Let's look at the jump. Boom. Yeah, it's a pretty big jump, is what it seems
is.
like.
But it seems like it's jumping down only. There doesn't seem to be any horizontal movement, although there is velocity given in that moment.
So we're in the warp and sprite. The X and Y position on this. Let's do this. Let's create if this dot ID equals 3, like that. So if the ID is equal to 3, I want to change the X and Y position, is what I want to do on this. So hold on a second. This is going to make this X, and X is going to be equal to, we'll get this X calculation in here. Like that. And hold on. I'm going to come back to you in a second. There's X, and put X there. Here's Y, going to be right there. Equals that, okay. So now we've got that, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to say X is equal to cross X. I want to put this right over the, I want to put the...
You got a fixed point, you know where it's going to create.
Yeah, I'm going to put it right after that.
Now,
right over that.
this is where your warp-in sprite is going to be created, but we're fairly certain that that is centering.
You know what? Actually, I'm thinking is maybe I don't want to do it here. I want to put the gateway. If it's gateway 3, do I want to put gateway? No, I think I'm okay with this, at least for now. So what I want to do is this. So this is going to now, if we're at 3, we're going to come out of the middle of the piece.
Yeah.
I just want to do this let's go into layouts. And let's go find that gateway layout. Oops, wrong. I'm in the JS. That's where I want to be. All right. I just want to get this out of the way because I want to make sure none of these are overlapping. Well, I guess they're not really overlapping. So we're going to do that. So if we type in 3, we're going to come out of those crosshairs right there. I'm going to move 2 up a bit. I'm going to take this, get this out of here, and move up here. So that's going to be number 2. And why not? Let's move this down. Like that. Okay. So, whoops, hold on. Fine, whatever. Reload. Somehow we got a JS that's up here that's open. See if we can find it and get rid of it so we don't get that error message anymore.
I did not see it. Oh, there it is. About 6 or 7 down. Gravity Games JS.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, the J and the T are pretty close. All right, so let's do that now. Whoops, what did I just do? All right, let's go do refresh. Just so we can really look at what's going on here. So we're going to say test gate. And there's the test gate. Type in drone. What did I say? 3 is the one I'm
3,
looking
I
for?
think, yeah.
Huh, not centered. Over it.
And yet, if I go in from 2, it is centered.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me look at the code. Well, we're not doing this right here on it is what we're not doing.
Right. Yeah.
So hold on a second.
So if you set x equal to this x and y equal to this y at the start, then
Yeah.
conditionally change them and then do the centering as a third part.
That's kind of where I'm headed on this. It's exactly where I'm moving to. All right, so y is that, and then we're going to say that, and then we're going to say x is equal to x plus that. Change
Yeah,
it to
that looks good.
x plus equals that.
So that means we'll be centered regardless of which route we take, which is nice.
Y plus equals that right there. All right, let's try that. Just take a look at it one more time. So we can get that test up there. Test gate. There's the test gate. Drone 3. That wasn't really good at all. I didn't like that at all. Why was that problematic? We were saying the Y position is the gateway size. Oh, well, gateway size doesn't apply anymore. It's really just this piece right here is what it is. Hold on. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of working my way through this.
See. Yeah. So the gateway size is part of the origin piece, but the adjustment was by drone.width only, not by gateway size plus drone width.
Yeah. Actually, wait. I've got a better idea. I like this. I don't like where this code is going here. Hold on a second. And it's funny. I'm taking this direction. I'm going to clean all this up.
That's right. And if you put that into the initialization of x at the top instead.
Yeah, it's a little bit better, is what it is. All right, so we're going to say plus that, plus that.
Yeah.
That's the center point. So that's get us the center. All right, that's making a little more logical sense to me. All right. Test gate.
Okay, gates are good. Drone 2, more or less okay. Put myself out of the way there.
Here comes drone 3. Okay, so it
Right,
comes
so
out
warp
okay.
gates are definitely good.
Yeah, and
Well,
it is.
the warp in is good.
And it's coming out. Yeah, the warp in is okay. The jump down is really, really odd, though. Let's take a look at the. I think it's based on the offset. So the jump down occurs when we are. It's here, and the X and Y is here. This is my problem area right here. So we basically said plus gateway size divided by 2. Let's see where just the X and Y are. we might be good with just that and no mods on it. Because the warp in sprite has the same dimensions as the other piece. Let's see if that solves it. All right, so we're going to say test gate, like that. There it is. Drone 3.
That was much smoother on the main
And
one.
it worked. It worked for me. So drone, that worked for me. So if we'll watch it again. If your eyes are on the crosshair, drone 3, boom, and we're out.
Perfect.
And that's pretty cool. All right, so that means...
I like that.
Now if I say drone 2, I just want to watch coming out of there. It's pretty good. It's kind of bringing me in. It's pretty good. I buy it. I'm believing it. And if we come out of 5, drone 5 down at the bottom right of corner, which is right behind me here, let me do that. So the other thing you may notice is what's happening is when you come out of, let's just show 5 so it's on screen here. Bring it all the way down here to 5. Wherever you come out of, you're going to move in towards the center. So if I come in and say drone 5, I should move in and up to the left, right? Yeah. Where if I say I want to come in from drone 0, let me scroll that up so you can see that. So drone 0 is right up there, and I do the same thing. I say drone 0. Whoops, shoot, that's not what I wanted to do. Drone 0, there it is. And it's weird, I showed up to the left of where I wanted to with that drone 0. Let me look at that again. Drone 0? I don't get that. I should be coming out of that space over there to the left. That seems like a bug to me. That's 0 right there.
Drone 0 seems to be coming out of the rocket ship still.
Yeah, it's as if it doesn't find 0. Let's launch the rocket ship and move it out of the way. There's the launch. And let's move down 3.
Yeah, drone 0 is not being found. I come out of the rocket ship just then again.
Same. Yeah, you're right. Okay, well that's good. At least that's hopefully something to fix. Drone 1
well,
then...
You know, 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6 is not bad.
Drone 1 works. So there's drone 1 right there coming out. So, okay, so drone 0 is not working. We're not finding drone 0. What's up with that? Gateway, ID to string. Where's it set?
Is there a chance that the very first time we add a gateway, when we allocate the ID based on the length of the array, that the array has no existence and therefore doesn't have a length of 0, but has maybe not a number as its length? I
love that theory. I think that's probably it, is what I think. So let's take a look over here. So we are setting the ID equal to this. What if it's undefined right there? And so that I think is maybe the deal on this. So let's do this. Let's say, I guess I could do this. If not that, is that going to work?
I don't know, because it could be undefined, but it could also be like some special not a number constant. Yeah. I don't know exactly how JavaScript and TypeScript deal with these things.
So the theory goes like this. So basically we say if sprites and if sprites.length, then we can do this. Otherwise, we're going to say, so if this code fixes this, by the way, then we're going to set it to 0. Then your theory is absolutely correct. So for refresh over here, let's try refresh. Fix this.
So we should also launch.
Okay, I've launched.
I'll move a little bit and then drone 0. No, we don't have anything yet.
Let's do test gate. Here's the gates are up.
That may have messed that up. I had one as well.
Oh,
However,
interesting.
it should still be there, right? So
yeah,
drone 0, go.
You could also do drone 6. Should be able to work too. Drone 6, is that going to work? Drone 6 works and 0 does not.
0 does not. Okay.
That's weird.
I guess we could throw the IDs out onto the console as we do them.
My take on this is the find isn't working. That's what my take is on this, is that find is not working when the ID is 0 for some reason. So in our, let's see, where were we? We were working with gateway, I think over here. And the matches, we were having this problem right here. What if we did this? What if we changed the IDs? Let's just do a +1 on the IDs when we create these here.
Okay.
And let's just see what happens. Let's do this. Yeah, if this was undefined, I should get an error right here. I should get something. So let's just add 1 to it. And so now the theory is that if for some reason the ID is 0, we can't find you. And I'm not sure why. And I'd have to look through that. We'd have to look through that code carefully. But if this now works, let's come back over here, refresh. And then we'll give away a copy of CodeRushed after this. Hold on, test gate. Like that. I'm going to type in drone 0.
Did not work for me.
Did not work for me. Oh, because there's no one, drone 0. But drone 1 works because that's the new number up there.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Will Bennett got it.
Ahead of us both there, coming out.
As usual. As usual. All right, so there we go. Right for...
So there's something strange about trying to find a 0 or convert a 0 to a string. Wow, who'd have thought?
I don't know what's going on with that. That's a little weird. I'm going to kill this code right here. This code we're going to get rid of because we want it actually to show up out of number 3.
Yep.
And we can just reconsolidate this piece right here. Minus that. And this piece is minus this. This is actually kind of exciting because what's really happening here to make this work, it's kind of this neat handoff. And it's kind of the architecture is nice to support it, right? We have this cycled override, which gets us out of here. And this expiration date, we can say, hey, we're done. You know, kill us now, clean us up. So we're out of there,
Yeah.
right? We saw earlier in the show, we saw 10,000 of these out. So pretty good. Ultimately, not a lot of code needed. We didn't need anything here either. Boom.
Which is simpler, which is nice.
Right, we just clean that up a bit too. That's good. Last thing I'll do is I will move these into separate files, but I'm not going to do that. We can remove this comment at the end too, because that was all to help us get started. So we kind of went from an idea of a general idea of how to do it. We built it. I think it's time, and now finally it works. And it works in a very cool way, right? We have these layouts that can specify where we want the warp-ins to occur. And so now I can say, okay, if you want to warp in into a particular area, like for example, like let's actually start giving you a sense of where we can go with this. We'll keep gateway test there. But now what I want to do is we'll duplicate that and we want to put a portal where we can drop things out to our players, drop meteors out here. That's a portal, as I recall. It's the 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we want to put a gateway so folks can come out of here, out over here, like this. And we want to put another
Nice.
gateway over here, and we want to put a wall that folks can throw a ball through, which is this symbol right here. And we want to put a wall separating these two.
So you can literally elect, I would like to be on team 1, spawn out of portal 1 or gateway 1, collect a meteor that falls directly out of the portal onto you, and now you have to somehow get that across the wall, presumably to be caught by a teammate who is over on the other side of the wall, and perhaps they have to hand it off and score someplace.
Yes, exactly. And I should have just rectangular selected these to get all these right. So we've got a wall there, and we'll get a wall here, like this, I think, like that. And and then this guy has some advantage in terms of scoring that these guys do not have. And I think the advantage would look something like this. It would be solid lines coming down, like this. And then solid lines across. Forget the solid line symbol.
Looks like
That right there.
Yeah.
And so solid lines across like this, like that. And wait. No, it's just there. It's just that. And so the guys here get to fly up. They get to fly up here and do the shot that they need to shoot to get it, you know, in the basket or whatever they need to do. But these guys can't do it because and I think because, hold on, let me do this to make it like super. There's just no way they can shoot it, is I guess what I'm saying. Hold on. Hold on. It's this right here. It's this like that. So now I've set solid lines here. So there's just no way to get the shot. There's no way to get the shot. You have to pass to a teammate who's going to fly up and out of that space. So now if you want to get in here, you can come in like this. And so now let's get rid of that. Get rid of the two gateways here and here. So that's the idea of kind of building the game. So now we're going to call this a mixed test. That's what we're going to call that. Bring that over into main. There it is right there. And we're going to say if the parameters is equal to mix, like that, then we want, not that, we want a different thing that's going to use this piece. It's going to be gravity game start game of that. Mix test. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do a refresh and look at that game design. So we're going to say this, test mix. Nice. So now I'm going to say I want to come out of drone 2, drone warp gate 2.
And I'm here on drop 1. And look, I've just been given a meteor immediately.
Yeah.
So now
you'd have to throw it to us.
Let's try not crashing. I got to throw. So what do we reckon? Maybe
I would say
horizontal.
6 is the first one. So that would be T6, comma 3.
3. Okay.
Definitely not that. You want a
Definitely
little bit more,
that, so.
or we need to move, something along those lines.
Now that's interesting. We still have that bug where we can't get a meteor if we're moving to the left.
Oh, no.
I have to get myself to the right hand. Oh, there we go.
I think you were moving too fast.
Perhaps.
I think that's what it was.
Now I have several. Okay.
I think you're okay.
And so now we want slightly more than 6. So
we also
10.
have that debugging code that's still working there to showing and drawing on there. All right, so yeah, definitely more than 6. Like try 12, comma 5 or 7. 12, comma 7.
5.
Nice.
Oh,
okay, cool.
There we go.
And then I would then fly up for 4, something like that. Wait, what happened to my? Oh, the ball hit and blow up.
The ball died.
Nice. Okay, great. But
So
now
we have to be careful with the ball.
Right, but what's cool is we've got a sense of jeopardy that's running now, right?
Yeah.
If you look at my drone, I've gone from green to yellow because I hit once, right? So we keep trying that, right? And so that's kind of the idea here. We got it so that we can fly underneath the portals, and that we can kind of do a cooperative game with each other that is not dependent on lag, right? That's not dependent on lag being 0, right? We can kind of type things in and kind of figure it out to kind of work through and cooperatively play the game. Like you could pass to Will Bennett right now, Rory, by giving it a strong enough negative velocity.
I've completely lost control of what I'm doing. Yes,
Anyway.
I could toss that and go negative 2, negative 2.
There you go.
There we go.
Nice pass over to Will. All right,
There we
so
go.
so that's
Go along, Will.
so that's kind of it. Will could technically shoot from here up through that hole if he gave it enough velocity. We don't have upper limits on velocity yet, but what's exciting about this is there's kind of some cool feedback that we're getting. The elements that we're adding from the game, look at that. Oh, yeah, he's getting close. The elements that we're adding from the game are starting to fit together in ways that we're like, oh, okay, we can kind of build these things, right? The game engine built entirely from scratch. The assets, all of those, we created those from scratch for the most part. There's a few that we've bought online, that sort of thing, or that I bought rights to, but most of this is all kind of a very custom look, I think here, and with a gravity physics engine and a game engine behind it. So actually, I feel like we're in kind of a good place to move to the next level.
Yeah.
Want to see where we're going to go?
Sure.
All right, check it out. So here's where we're going to go next. This is for the Dungeons and Dragons show that I'm creating,
Okay, yeah.
And I'll move it off to the side here so you can see a little bit more on the over the shoulder side here. This is the layout. of what it's going to look like here. So there's going to be the game board. This is where you're going to have an overhead view of the Dungeons and Dragons game as we're playing it. Let me see if I can do this to just make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Nice. Okay. These are the players right here. So it's that's my wife, Karen. There's Kent. He's a real funny guy, and he's a developer guy. And myself and Rory. This is Rory Blythe right up here. And so this is the overhead view. This is the character stats of whichever character is selected. So these are going to be live pictures of us, video, just like you're seeing here now on the stream. So when it's Kent's turn to talk, he'll be showing up on top of everybody. And when it's my turn to play, I'm on top of everybody. So, and then stats, maybe mini stats will be there, or at least the character name. The chat room is going to be here. Overall game stats are here. Character stats for the active characters here. Game board's there. Right here is the chat gameplay area. What I'm going to build for this is an ability for folks from the chat room to come in as a character. They'll be able to select a character, just like we can come in now as a drone. You'll be able to come in as a wizard, a fighter, a rogue, and then choose different kind of hue offsets to maybe if you want to change skin tone or change the outfit color.
So would we be joining your party, or would we be like traditional NPCs, so the enemy?
No, Brendan Annis is asking Bard. No Bard at this point in time. In fact, only initially I'm going to support Fighter and Wizard. Then I'm going to add Rogue, and we'll add abilities to like unlock doors and things like that. It's a small gameplay area, but what is going to happen is when we are encountering monsters here, there will likely be the same monsters down here. And if players engage those monsters and defeat all of them, then one of these up here is going to die. The players are going to be able to impact the game. And there's other things we're thinking about as well. Like players, if they, for example, you can discover, I think this is tentative, but if you discover a luck token, you can then use that in a positive or negative way applied to a person or the team. So you could give the team good luck, which means we could do more, it'd be easier for us to do acrobatic things, right? Yeah. Or we might have advantage on a roll. Or you could give us less luck, right? Take it away from us, right? Exactly, something like that, right? So depending on how you did here and whatever your alignment was, whether you were, pro team or an individual player, you could take things in or out. Notice down here when the monsters, these are just mock-ups of it, but the monsters actually, two things. One is the monsters can exceed the game area. So you could have this larger creature that you'd have to defeat, but the monsters are labeled, just like our drone gateways are labeled.
Sure, the adornment.
So you can decide who you want to attack if you wanted to do that. So you could do that kind of a thing. You could choose who you want to attack. These are going to be... The monsters are actually going to be, it's all going to be 2D, but they're going to look like they're 3D rendered. It's essentially a side, it's as if we took a side scroller, did not scroll, and we had 3D, is what it's going to look like. So we'll have assets that look more like this than like this. And so your assets will similarly look 3D, but you'll only be able to really you walk left or right, and there might be transition animation between the two. And you can also, the other thing I like is if you type in say, and then whatever you want to say in quotes, it'll come in here like this. So you can impact the stream, say things right out there. And so I think it'll be cool. Brendan says, you say advantage, so I assume 5th edition. I'm telling you, what we're building here is a simple version of it, where we will have monsters will have awareness. They'll have some AI. They'll have melee attacks, ranged attacks. There'll be animations associated with it. So that's what we're moving to. We're going to move to that. The first thing I'm going to need to do is some refactoring on what we've built so we can swap out different game styles. Then I'm going to start building and working on this, which I think is going to be fun because we're going to be talking about those things that what do we need? We need to keep track of how many coins we've got, what our health is, that sort of thing. Oh, the other thing
There's
that's
a lot of common elements that we've already seen going on in the stuff you've been developing. So
the other thing we're going to be able to do too is if somebody's really, an ass or whatever for whatever reason, right? Like this, I don't know if I can say that on the show. The show I can't say it but on the show we're building, this is a show not for kids, so we will be able to say that. What we'll be able to do is Rory, being the game master, will be able to shoot a lightning bolt out and strike a character dead if they are causing trouble, they're saying bad words or whatever. Maybe they're saying something else, they're trying to spam something.
Or just maybe he feels like it,
Yeah, and that's going to be really fun because that's going to be coordinating several things. It's going to be coordinating what we see here with Rory, boom, the lightning bolt drawn across the screen at the death of the player, and then some penalty like the player can't come back for a few minutes because they've been struck by lightning. But I think it'll be fun. The whole purpose of the game, this thing is to be fun and funny. So if people can interact and do something down here, that might be fun. And so we'll do that. And so we're going to play at least in this space, and we'll see how that works.
Excellent.
That's what's coming up. With that, we have to ask the question.
You know what time it is?
Do we know what time it is?
What
time is it? I think it's time for a
Code Rush giveaway.
That's what time it is. That's what time it is. Brendan says, I know what time it is. Will Bennett wants to say dance battle. Looks like we're not quite loaded in there. Hold on. Let's see if we can do dance battle now. I want to see if what he typed in is going to work now. No. He says it's on a break. Doesn't like dance battle? Why not liking it? Oh, because we're in the CodeRushed giveaway. Hold on. Let me switch back over to here and now try dance battle. I want to see if that's what's happening.
Dance battle!
Yeah. You're locked out, Will. As soon as we start saying CodeRushed giveaway,
CodeRushed giveaway!
So we're giving away a copy of CodeRushed. I should, I never really promote the product at all to show it, but let me do this. I'm going to come up here, CodeRushed, the VS Marketplace. Let me go get you a Google link to this. Wait. I need to type in Roslyn here as well because there's also CodeRushed Classic. Boom. Let's get the link and I'll put it out in the chat room so you can get it. So, whoops, not what I wanted. All right. That's what's being given away right there. And it's right here. This is a great video to watch right here as well. This, I think, open link, copy, link address, and I'll put this out here too. And you can watch a little video if you want to see it. That's a little bit older, but it shows some of the things that we can do inside of it. So CodeRushed, it's an add-in to Visual Studio. So if you write code in Visual Studio, CodeRushed can help you out if you work in C#, VB, or JavaScript or TypeScript, that sort of thing. So that's what we're giving away. Today's winner is, and all you have to do is follow. So if you're not following, follow, and you're up for the prize every day. Today's winner is going to be
Burnsy85.
Okay, Burnsy85. Excellent. So there you go. That's you. We will. I'll contact you and give you some. Give you some instructions for downloading it. Rory, thank you so much. Awesome show. Rory, can you hear me? Rory, did I lose you? How did I lose Rory? He says he has to go. He had to leave, unfortunately. I was taking too long. We lost Rory. I just want to say thanks to Rory. He did an excellent job keeping us on track. Thanks to everybody else in the chat room. Will Bennett, we totally appreciate your help as always, keeping us on track. Slateboard, great to see you out there. Brendan, also great to have you stop by. Brendan, I think we're going to be together tomorrow doing a dual stream. Is that right? I think we might be doing it. It sounds like we are going to do it. So we're going to break the space-time continuum and both stream the same time, I think, and we'll see what happens with that. That should be exciting. And what I want to do is I want to prep for collecting coins, and I need to be able to talk back. And I was looking at the code, and I was like, oh, it's not so. I want somebody. I want some guidance here. I want some railing. And so Brendan's going to be with us tomorrow. We'll do this live together. And so we'll make it so that the individual drones can pick up coins, and they go in your permanent record. So the coins you collect are added up, and then you can buy things with those coins at some point, presumably. And at least with the Dungeons and Dragons games, you'll be able to upgrade your character with those coins in some way. We'll figure out some way for you to upgrade and get to the next level. So I think with that, I'm going to just say goodbye to everybody and thank you. It looks like I'm just want to scroll down, make sure I didn't miss anybody's messages. Looks like I got everybody. Okay, and we'll see you tomorrow.